This is just a second little video I'm going to make and something I mentioned in my first video about the law of attraction and how it's worked for me. So I did everything you can do when you watch or learn about the law of attraction. I watched a million YouTube videos. I read books. I read, and listened to Esther and Jerry Hicks. I've done it all, and I'm the kind of person that is great at research but terrible at execution. But I did execute a little bit. So over the summer, past my photo exhibit that I had that I talked about, I fell in love with these artists on YouTube. They were two international artists. One, his name is French Kiwi Juice, which you should check him out. I think if I can include a link below, I'll include some of his music. And then another one was Jacob Banks. And I found one of them on this channel called Colors and FKJ. I think I just ran in one of his videos on YouTube. But anyway, I fell in love with their music. I am a creative person. I love the arts, and their music was phenomenal. And I said, okay, I have to meet them. So after my photography exhibit, I was planning on getting my feet wet again and going back down to New Orleans, which, by the way, is and will always forever be my home. Like, I had to have lived there in a past life as much as I love it there. So it just so happened that both of them were performing in New Orleans the same time I was going to be down there. So I'm like, okay, bet, I have to see them. So I want to say not too long after I started planning my little trip that I emailed the venue manager for where FKJ was performing. And, I was introducing myself, trying to obtain a press pass more or less, saying, my name is such and such, I'm trying to get a press pass, you can use the photos, the typical email or whatever. I emailed maybe 3 times in 3 different kinds of ways, through the website, through an email I found, and maybe on Instagram DMs as well. I never heard back, and I sent this email around August or September. So a lot of things happened. For one, there was someone I gave my FKJ ticket away to, but I was like, okay, I'll just buy a ticket. It'll be whatever. I'll go to the show. So I actually ended up going to see Jacob Banks perform. At his show, they didn't care. I didn't need a press pass. I took pictures there. The next week, I went to a show for this percussionist who I admire very much, named Bill Summers. I went to his show on Thanksgiving night. I was there with some friends, and I ran into one of the guys who had opened up for Jacob Banks. And I was telling him, I introduced myself. I said, hey, I saw you at the show. You were great. And he was like, well, guess what? I'm performing for FKJ, because I think I told him that was a concert that I was going to next week, the following week. And he said, I'm opening up for him. You took pictures for them. Would you mind come taking some for me? And I said, that would be awesome, And he's like, great, I'm going to put you down for the guest list. You'll be able to come take pictures backstage, whatever. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get to take pictures of FKJ. Screw the press pass. I got backstage with one of the artists. So the day of, actually, rewind again. I actually manifested also some free tickets from this record store, Peaches Records. They were doing a little contest online, giving away 2 free tickets to go see FKJ. And because he is an international artist, I always chalk up that not many people really know about them, at least not in America. So I'm like, okay, it's gonna be easy as hell to get these tickets. So anyway, I entered the contest and I ended up winning the tickets. So, because I also had some friends that I wanted to bring with me. So fast forward, the day of the show, the guy who invited me to come and take pictures for the show texted me. He said, hey, just wanted you to give you a heads up. Your name is on the list. However, you cannot take pictures of FKJ because of his management, blah, blah, blah. And I was so disappointed. I was like, all this, and I thought I manifested it, but it was whatever, because I knew I was still going to the concert anyway. I had free tickets. If I hadn't had those tickets, I still had the option of taking pictures. I was still going to the show either way, and I completely forgot about the email. I mean, I knew I emailed them, but it wasn't at the forefront of my mind. So this was while I was getting ready that I got that original text message saying I couldn't take pictures of him. I kid you not, an hour. And I know this is so funny because I texted my friend, my best friend, who we had talked about law of attraction all summer, and I texted her as soon as it happened. I got an email that said, good evening, Taylor, blah, blah, blah. long story short, you have a press pass to come take pictures of FKJ. So I already had all these other options, and a man that I had emailed multiple times 3-4 months ago is finally, or it wasn't 3-4, 2-3, but it was a long amount of time, you know, emailed me back, and I had a press pass to the show. And in my journal specifically, I don't have it on me right now, I think it's in my room or something, but it said, I want to manifest getting to meet Jacob Banks and FKJ and taking pictures at their show. Now, with Jacob Banks, I actually, the way that I met him was funny just because I really, really wanted to meet him, but I'm super shy and I didn't want to seem like one of those needy groupies. Like, I just really wanted to meet him because I was so impressed with his music. I'm like, he's just someone I really, really have to meet. And one of my good friends, if she's watching, Rashika, hey, she was like, okay, we're gonna wait until everybody leaves and then we're gonna meet him. So we waited, you know, we smoked, you know, we were talking, and it's cold outside. It's like 1-2 in the morning. I'm like, oh God, like, are we really about to do this? And we waited and we waited, and his guitar player actually came up to us and smoked with us, talked to us a little bit, and it was only for a few minutes because I was not specific about my manifestation. I didn't say I wanted to party with Jacob Banks on it. I just said I wanted to meet him, and he was actually very humble. I got to meet him, and it was amazing. The FKJ now, I could have probably met him had I stayed, but I had a flight to catch the next morning. This was my last night in New Orleans, but I did get to see him perform, and it was absolutely amazing. So, to wrap all this law of attraction manifestation things up, is to say, I set an intention. I had an intention on meeting these artists and getting to a certain point where I was like, okay, I'm gonna meet them. There's no doubt in my mind it's gonna happen. I got down in New Orleans. I completely forgot about the work that I had put in as far as, you know, emailing, trying to get these press passes, whatnot. And I still made it to the show. And I still got to meet these artists. And, you know, when you're setting a goal and an intention for yourself, you have to have the end in mind and you have to know what's going to happen. You can't put limitations on things. And I'm a person who does not go by limitations at all. I hate feeling restricted. I hate the thought of doing a 9-to-5 job. I hate the thought of, you know, just being limited in what I'm doing and limited in my options. So, you know, when you're doing that, you can't say, okay, well, I want $1 million, but I don't want it this way or I don't want it that way. I mean, if you're going to do it, you're going to have to be specific. And you're going to have to talk more about what you want, you're going to have to talk about what you want and not talk about what you don't want, if that makes sense. So, I've been a person that if I don't see a result automatically, I usually give up. And I think just because what distracted me from the situation was the fact that I knew I was going to be in New Orleans regardless. You know, I knew I was going to be taking pictures. I knew I had photo shoots. I knew I was going to have a good time. So I didn't sit there and obsess over the fact like, oh my God, I have to get this press pass. I have to get this press pass. I was like, I'm going to get it. And I actually forgot I even said that. And then I ended up getting it. So, you know, set your goals, set them with intention. Don't limit yourself, but don't be so specific to the point where you're not willing to get your dream any other way but one way. You know, it can be hard. It's a difficult road. And I think that's a lot of things some people fail to say. You know, they fail to tell you there's a lot of times when you feel like giving up. I've gotten to that point. I've cried my eyes out for weeks at a time, you know, because what I wanted wasn't right there. So I was so obsessed with that I let go of the actual dream that I had. So this is just a video for encouragement for people who have things. You know, set your goal, set your intention, know that it's going to happen. And I think I've said this in a previous video, but you know, I'm now a living example. It can happen. I also, real quick, not to drag on this video, but when I set my intention for going to New Orleans, I wrote down, I want to be in New Orleans for 3 to 4 weeks. And that is all that happened. And that's how I got back to the point I am now. I didn't say I want to journal. I want to be in New Orleans for 6 months. I said 3 to 4 weeks, and that is exactly what I got. And, you know, I was sad, like, oh my God, why couldn't I be there longer? Why weren't the means there? Because I didn't ask for them. And you have to be open to asking the universe for whatever it is that you want. So I'm going to end it right here because I'm already getting close to 10 minutes. So practice the law of attraction because anything can happen, literally. I did not think it was possible, but it is. So